Let's be honest, sitting down in front of a camera and talking to it can feel really weird, and it can be really hard as well. So in this video, I'll be talking about tips that you can use to help you become more confident on camera. If you're interested, make sure you keep on watching. The first thing I'll say to help you feel more confident on camera is look the part, and it can be as simple as that. I know for me, since I've taken the effort or taking the time to, when I wake up and say, okay, today's content day, we're doing 2 to 3 videos, making sure that I spend time to do like my hair or to do my makeup or to put on an outfit that I know I'm gonna feel cute in, can go that extra step in helping you feel prepared, helping you feel more relaxed, helping you feel more confident on camera to show up as your best self, because you're looking like your best self. And then, as much as we would like it to be otherwise, a lot of social media platforms do play into or buy into aesthetics. So if you look the part, it can have an impact on the way people engage with your post. I know before, when I used to do content, is like I'd do my hair but I wouldn't fix the back, or I'd put on a top but there'd be something like hanging off the side, but I was like, oh, it'll be cut off in camera so it won't matter. But things like that can have an impact on how you feel about the content that you create. And if there is a slight glitch or a mishap, or say you show the back of your hair and it's not done in a video, it can really ruin your vibe. So definitely take the time to look the part, put in that effort, and show up as your best self. Next thing I'll say is look into the camera lens. So for me, I use an iPhone 12 Pro Max, if that's what it's called, to record my videos. So it's quite easy for me to look directly at the camera. But I have seen people record videos where they're supposed to be looking into the camera lens and they're looking at the camera instead, and it just looks weird, like they're talking to someone else that is in the room. So as much as possible, make sure that you look into the camera lens. If it helps you, another tip, you can put a mirror behind the camera. So I would say, if you're using the mirror, put it directly behind the camera that you're using or the phone that you're using. And even then, make sure that you're not looking in the mirror, you're looking in the camera lens, and because that's what is going to make it, can't speak, appear that you're speaking directly to the person that is watching your video. Third tip, I feel like this is going to be a really quick video, but my third tip is do test shots as much as possible before you start. So for me, my first clip, when I sit down, I set up my setup the way that I want it, will be to sit down and just do an initial clip where I'm talking and I'll say something like, oh, this is Rebecca, this is my YouTube channel. I'm doing a test recording to make sure that the audio is okay, to make sure the setup is okay, to make sure my hair is okay and not out of place, because it's so annoying when you record and that happens. But doing test shots before you start can, one, save you so much time, and it can make sure that you're given the right amount of energy, or you have the right amount of volume, so that it translates into the content that you're creating or putting out there. I'll be honest, I put down a few points in terms of what I want to speak about, but there's an added tip that I really want to add in as well, as it relates to how to be more confident on camera. And the thing that has really helped me is having an outline or having bullet points. So granted, if you want to speak on camera, if you're doing TikToks, it might be a bit easier, but especially if you're doing like YouTube videos or longer form content, it helps for you to be more confident on camera when you have something to work off that you can look back on in terms of like notes, to know where you are, to know what you kind of need to say next. I know that some people talk about scripting entire videos, so that might be TikTok, that might be Reels, that might be shorts, that might be videos. But I think for me, it helps when you have like a brief kind of outline of what you want to speak about, and then you free flow. It can feel a bit hard to begin with, but once you get into it, and if it helps, create more of a detailed outline if you need to, in terms of, this is the main points that I want to talk about, but under these points, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about this. So at least that way, when you go back to look down at your notes, like at the moment, I have a phone with notes here for me. It's easier to know what you need to pick up, or what you need to say, or what you've missed. And if you need to go back and re-talk about a point, it makes it easier to do that as well. The next tip that I'll share is perfect the pitch, because first impressions last. And this is something that I've been trying to implement more recently, in terms of like doing research and seeing what content is going to work better or work best. And that hook, so those 2 seconds or that first statement that you make in terms of a video that you're creating or being on camera, is what is really going to entice people, engage people to want to keep watching your video. What can help you do that in the best way is having a pitch. So for me, sometimes like it's just the first sentence in my video that is scripted. So I'll think about, okay, what statement can I make that is really going to grab people's attention from the get-go? And then I can do a bit more of a free flow in terms of having that detailed or not detailed outline, depending on how confident you are to talk about that. And having that perfect pitch to begin with is what's going to grab people's attention and make you seem really confident to begin with. And then at least if that confidence goes a tiny bit throughout the video, you've gripped them. You've done the hard work at the beginning of enticing them to think that, oh, this girl is super confident, or she's really good on camera, or I'm really engaging what this person is talking about because they seem to know what they're saying, even if they can't speak. Then that's going to be a really good way to help engage people, but also to help you feel more confident or appear more confident on camera as well. I think this is tip number 6 or tip number 7, and that is don't be scared to be yourself. And I know it sounds cliche, but literally almost every single podcast or book that I've listened to or read in terms of how to boost your confidence or how to create better content has always gone back to be your authentic self. And that is really what it boils down to, especially in this growing competitive space where there's so many like micro influencers and big influencers, and all of these people popping up on different platforms like TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. It can be so hard to have your voice be heard if you're not showing that you're confident, or if you're not showing up as yourself. Even if it's a case where there's 50 other people that are creating content that is similar to yours, there is a difference. And that difference is the way that you approach it, and your authenticity and your confidence, and just being yourself. So find your secret sauce, which is your personality, and infuse that into your content as much as possible if you want to appear more confident on camera. And granted, this doesn't happen automatically. The first day you record is not going to feel natural, but over time, be yourself. Don't be scared to add in those little clips where you're umming or you're hiccuping over a word like I'm doing now. But adding that in or keeping that in can make you seem more authentic or more confident, and can go the long way in helping people to actually resonate with your content, because you're not trying to show them a perfect image or perfect video. You're being real, you're being authentic. It's like you're having a conversation with them, and that is what makes a huge difference when it comes to being confident on camera. The next thing that I'll say is amp it up. So I watched a video, I think it was a while back, maybe from Erin On Demand, that was saying that the camera takes away like 10% of your energy. So if you are just speaking on camera the way that you would if you're speaking to a friend, great, but you want to give more energy as much as possible. Because if you're just speaking in a monotonous way, the way that I'm doing now, or normally in the way that you would if you were having a conversation with a friend, one, like even when I was saying that, I was looking away because I was getting distracted. And also when you go back and you watch that clip of you just speaking how you normally would in that monotonous voice, it's going to appear much more boring, if we can say that. It's not going to grab people's attention because you're not making that effort to grab people's attention. So as much as possible, when I'm trying to record, I will amp up my energy by 10%, and I'll try to keep it that way, like throughout the video. So the way I'm speaking now, if someone else was in the house, they'd be able to hear that I'm speaking a bit louder than I normally would, or my energy is a bit more up than it normally would be, almost like presenting. So in boosting your confidence on camera, I'd say be yourself, but amp it up a tiny bit. The last tip I'll share is practice. Practice makes a world of difference. When you go back and you look at YouTubers or content creators and the first post that they've uploaded, if you scroll like all the way down, typically their first videos are just as embarrassing as like mine is, where they look really stiff or they look kind of uncomfortable or like the lighting isn't good or something. And who knows, there might be a couple years from now when I look back at this video and think, what was she actually doing? But it's all a process of growth and improvement. So in the same way, practice with that first video or that first time where you sit down and you record yourself. You might not post it, but make sure that you look at it and think, okay, this is how I can improve this one. And I think it was a friend that mentioned to me that looking at the videos that you upload and trying to make sure that with every upload or with every piece of content that you create or every time you're on camera, that you look at it and you think, okay, this is how I can improve this going on, or for the next time around. So looking at that as well can really help you. An easy way to practice as well. So granted, I share content on YouTube, but there's other platforms that you can use. So if it's easier to begin by sharing short form videos, you can do that on YouTube, you can do that on Instagram, you can do that on TikTok, you can even do that on Pinterest. Like there's so many different platforms now that are moving towards short form content, which can be a perfect platform for you to kind of begin to practice with infusing that energy into those shorter form pieces of content, and seeing how people engage with it and seeing how you can improve on it in terms of your confidence. Even like Instagram stories, for example, putting yourself on camera there and talking about something that's exciting about your day, something that you actually want to speak about, that you're passionate about. So at least that way there's natural energy that you'll be infusing into that video that people can relate to. And then over time, you can go towards being on camera for longer periods of time and feeling more confident doing that as well. And so that might be something that could help you as well. So that is it in terms of my tips for this video. If you did find it helpful, make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe, and leave a comment as well if you have any suggestions in terms of content creation, videos similar to this that you'd like me to share as well. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.